This is TWiT.
Robinhood, this is the stock trading app and service. It's a free alternative to some of the more pricey ones that are out there. And I can remember when Robinhood first came around, it was something that I was really excited about. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it in a while, but
didn't they have? I remember their hook was to give you a couple of shares of something for free.
Yeah. They want to get you going and get you excited about it, get you into it. And they've gained popularity enough that when they experienced some downtime earlier this week, people were pretty upset about it. Alex Wilhelm is here from TechCrunch to talk to us about what happened, what it means, and everything you need to know about Robinhood. Ah, there you are. Hi. Didn't see you there.
No worries. I'm here. I promise.
Oh, excellent. So let's get right into it. My first question is did I do a good job of explaining what Robinhood is in its current form? Have there been any new features since the early days? And then what happened earlier this week that kind of has everybody a little upset?
Yeah, I would add a little bit to it. I thought your summary was a great place to start. They have added things like crypto trading. So if you want to buy Bitcoin or anything like that, you can now do that also through the Robinhood platform. They had a bit of a fiasco trying to add a high yield savings account, and they kind of bent the rules and got into a bit of trouble there. Oops. And I would throw in a note about growth because it's not just another app out there that has some users that we probably care about a little bit. This has become one of the biggest brokerage and trading platforms in the world. I think it has like 10 million users. And so it's enormous now. And I think that hook of free trading was an enormous kind of lever point for it to use to grow, so much so that a lot of its competitors had to follow suit. So when we talk about this company, it's not just, one more startup in the mix. It's a big one. And that's why, as you said, when it had some downtime, it was a big deal. And on that front, it didn't just have downtime once, it had downtime twice on consecutive days. On Monday for a very, very long period of time, and then for a couple of hours on Tuesday. And if you're not an investor or if you don't have a 401k or whatever, you might not know what happened, but we've been experiencing some market volatility. And the markets went up dramatically and down dramatically this week. And so if all of a sudden you can't trade and that was your reason for being on Robinhood because trades are free, it's a pretty big deal. So they took a lot of heat for this. That's why it was in the news. That's why we're talking about it. So big scale, lots of features. Whoops, downtime, super embarrassing.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I think about with trading is, you used to have those images of Wall Street where the people were shouting and da-da-da-da-da. And that does not work that way anymore. Instead, you've got computers that are moving extremely quickly to get these sales out and making exchanges and trades. And so I imagine it's kind of a big deal if your service for doing your stock trading is down for that long period of time. I mean, people, are they asking for refunds, or what is the outcry here? And do we have any? It's fun whenever someone sort of tries to do some calculations on, and this is the potential money that people lost and some ridiculous number.
Yeah.
Well, the potentially lost sum is indeterminate because you can't really tell what people would have done on the day when they couldn't trade. But what we do know is that if you go through forums like Wall Street Bets, which is a rude place on the internet, I'm not recommending it, but they are big Robinhood users, or the investing subreddit or other forums online where people kind of congregate to talk about trades, people were posting things like, I couldn't sell, I lost $25,000 today because of Robinhood. Now, I can't independently verify those, but there were so many of those claims, and they were all kind of of the same variety, posting screenshots of their account, talking about what they couldn't do. If Robinhood tried to make all of that right, I don't know if they could afford it, frankly. What they've done instead is, after apologizing and trying to give an explanation about what happened, they offered people a couple of free months of use of their, I think, Robinhood Gold service, which is worth about $5 a month. So what they offered was kind of like $15 of in-house currency for services. And I don't know if that relatively pathetic Band-Aid is going to be able to assuage the user base and not convince people that if they're going to trade options or make regular day trades, they should go somewhere else that also now has, zero cost trades.
Now, I'm not totally familiar with the startup side of Robinhood, but you said they have almost 10 million subscribers. Is that what you just said?
I believe they have 10 million accounts. Now, there is a differentiation point between the services that are out there because E-Trade, I think, has fewer accounts, but E-Trade accounts tend to have more money in them. So what you have on Robinhood are a lot of kind of like, I think, younger millennials, maybe late Gen Z, a lot of folks that don't have lots of money and they don't have traditional brokerage accounts. And so they put some money into Robinhood as a starting point. And that's cool. That's a fine place to start. So the account number is a bit more impressive than I think. It sounds a bit more impressive than it actually is, if that makes sense, Dan.
So when I hear about an outage, I'm assuming it was like a scale problem, just too much data coming into their infrastructure and it just couldn't handle it. Was that the case here? Is this something that they could build up with scale and keep this from happening down the road? Or heck, do they even have the resources to further invest in a bigger backbone, if you will?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I'll answer it in reverse. So they've raised oceans of money. They've raised, I think, $912 million to date. So certainly as one of the best funded startups. Exactly. Yeah, I would laugh too. It's an insane amount of money. They should be able to afford to buy all the engineering talent and capacity they need. But even if you have all the resources, if you don't put them together correctly, it doesn't always work. So what they said was, and I pulled this up for us because I thought we'd get to it. Multiple factors, according to the company, contributed to the unprecedented load that ultimately led to the outages. The factors included high volatility, historic market conditions, record volume, and record signups. So one, kind of a lackluster explanation because surely a trading platform is designed to handle high volatility. Markets go up and down.
Yeah, that's how this works.
Right? Because you'd want to trade more when things are happening. But people did complain about the record signups point. It felt like the company was trying to spin this as a win, but it wasn't a win. It was a fail. So there were some kind of PR issues there.
Yeah, I mean, are there any other platforms that are similar to this at all? I remember there being, and I can't remember the name of it now, but it would round up the money that you spent to the next whole dollar. Acorns, yeah. Is that one still around? Is it an alternative to this? Are there others out there that are anywhere near the funding goals that, or funding, not goals, but achievements that Robinhood has gotten?
Yeah, so one thing we've seen in kind of the fintech fin services world in the last, I want to say 18 months, is a lot of companies that started off doing one thing have increased their kind of service. So like, for example, SoFi began doing kind of student loan refinancing. Now they have a savings account function. They'll let you buy stocks on the applications. You can do that too. Acorns started off as a way to round up your expenses and save your first kind of like couple $1,000s. I think they also now do stocks. They also have a checking account and a debit card, just as everyone's trying to do more things. So the question about, who competes with Robinhood? Well, a lot of folks. You can buy stocks relatively inexpensively through a host of applications now. Robinhood's probably the purest play. It has the biggest brand. I mean, I've seen Robinhood commercials on TV. So they're really trying to get out there and go for it. Sorry.
Other than going through your bank, say your bank offers a brokerage account.
I mean, you could do that. It just depends on what you want. And I think that a lot of folks want an app in their pocket that's designed to be mobile, and they want cheap or zero cost trades. And so Robinhood really did hit part of the market that was pretty exciting. Personally, I use the major brokerages for my retirement accounts because I'm old and boring. But I think the kids want something that's kind of cool and neat.
He said he's old. Come on.
Well, compared to these millennials, I don't know.
Yeah, these millennials. Oh man. No, I guess so. It's with coronavirus and with the campaign and all the stuff that's going on right now. Has Robinhood sort of? I know that they said this is what happened. What are they doing now to fix the problem, and what are they doing sort of going forward as we continue to experience a high volatility in the market?
Well, I don't think they've announced yet specific remedies to their process, platform, and services. I presume what they're doing is working their backsides off, trying to make their tech work together better. But what we can do is go back in time to when they had the high yield savings account offering that they had to pull because they kind of missed the mark on some regulatory issues. What they did after that was hire a bunch of people to help fix those problems. So even though the company has a history of being a bit loose with the rules and maybe moving a bit too fast on engineering, they also have a history of hiring people intelligently to fix things. So my hope is they're taking some of their money, maybe some of their TV money, and hiring people to fix the load issues, because you certainly can't go down ever again because there's no way to come back from the trust loss if after this embarrassing failure of the 2 days in a row you do it again. So if they're not doing that, I'll be shocked, I guess.
Yeah. The last question I would have for you is, are there regulations or laws in place that act as sort of protection when these things happen? And in the way that, this isn't a mishandling of data in the same way that, one of the like Equifax or something like that. But with these new startups, that's one of the things that I'm always curious about. Like you said, they kind of play fast and loose with the rules. Are there any protections in place for people's finances going with these newer services?
There are rules and regulations, but what I'm not sure about is what they say about downtime. Because when you think about a lot of the regulatory structure that deals with the stock market and money, not all of it's very new. Some of it is from an outdated period in which a mobile app-based trading system wasn't really in mind. And so I don't know how the current legal structure would apply to Robinhood's downtime. But what they can be is sued. And I think there's going to be some lawsuits. We're going to find out the answer to your question. I think it's a bit soon to say. But given the number of people that were impacted, their level of activity, and the potential losses they've kind of endured, we're going to see some legal action. And I'm never rooting against a company. Robinhood's done a lot of really cool things. But in this case, they kind of earned it. This seems like they kind of deserve to get hit. So I'm sure we'll talk about this again down the road, but it's going to be a fascinating legal next couple of quarters for the company.